Okay, let's dive right into this stack of sources you've pulled together. It's quite a snapshot of the AI world right now, and honestly, it feels like things are moving at, well, warp speed across every single domain.
It really does. I mean, you look through this list and we've got major legal battles, huge corporate maneuvers, brand new tech features rolling out, and these, big philosophical debates about the future all happening at once.
Exactly. And our mission today really is to jump into these articles and reports, maybe cut through some of the noise,
Hmm.
and pull out the most important insights and connections for you. We're looking for those key nuggets, right? So you can be well informed without having to wade through everything yourself.
Yeah, think of it as getting you up to speed quickly, not just on what's happening in AI, but maybe more importantly, why it matters and what sorts of underlying shifts these headlines actually represent.
Okay, so let's get started then. This collection, I mean, it covers everything. Hollywood studios suing AI developers, the U.S. Army getting involved, even AI popping up in kids' toys. It really highlights just how deeply and broadly AI is embedding itself.
Absolutely. And maybe a good place to start is where all this rapid development is causing some, let's say, friction.
Right,
Right there on the front lines, in the courts and around ethics.
right. That makes sense. That's where we see these massive legal battles heating up, like Disney and Universal out of Hollywood
Uh-huh.
and Getty Images taking AI firms like Midjourney and Stability AI to court.
Mm-hmm. And what's fascinating here really is the core of their argument. They're basically saying these AI models were trained using massive data sets that included copyrighted content, millions of images, texts, creative works, all used without permission or, crucially, compensation.
So this isn't just like a simple licensing dispute then. This feels much, much bigger.
Oh, it is. These are truly landmark cases because they're wrestling with really fundamental questions, aren't they? Like, does using copyrighted material just for training an AI model count as fair use? Or is it actually creating a derivative work that infringes on the original copyright? The outcomes here, well, they could set global precedents for intellectual property in this whole new AI age.
And that has huge implications, right, for, well, anyone who creates content, writers, artists, musicians,
Yeah.
or even just consumes it. It touches on the future of, human creativity and who actually benefits when AI tools built on that creativity, start generating new stuff.
Precisely. And the ethical questions, they definitely don't stop with copyright either. We saw that recent incident with Meta's new AI assistant app that caused quite a stir.
Oh, that privacy issue,
Uh,
where users were apparently discovering that personal questions they'd asked
Yeah.
or conversations they thought were private with the AI were somehow exposed publicly. Is that right?
That's the gist of it. It wasn't necessarily like a malicious leak, but it highlighted a significant problem. A problem with how privacy is handled and communicated in these new AI interfaces. If users aren't crystal clear on what data is being collected or used or potentially exposed, well, it just erodes trust completely, doesn't it? It sparked a global conversation about data transparency and the responsibility of these big tech companies to protect user info, especially with something as kind of intimate as conversations with an AI.
Yeah.
If you're using any AI assistant, this definitely hits close to home.
It really makes you think twice about the data you're feeding these things.
Yeah.
And interestingly, while the U.S. is dealing with these privacy incidents and lawsuits, the sources seem to point to Europe taking a slightly different path.
Yes, that's a clear trend. There's a strong push in Europe towards embedding ethics and privacy into AI development right from the start. We're seeing European startups specifically pioneering this privacy-first approach, building ethical compliance directly into their AI architecture.
And this is likely fueled by things like GDPR, the regulations they have.
Exactly. Those strict data protection standards are really pushing companies to be proactive. It positions Europe as a key player, potentially, in shaping what responsible, ethical AI looks like globally. Maybe offering an alternative model to the move fast and break things mentality we sometimes see elsewhere.
That contrast is really striking.
Yeah.
And on a more serious note, the sources also brought up a really disturbing ethical issue,
Yeah.
specifically Meta suing an AI firm over the creation of fake nude images of minors.
Yeah, that incident is just horrific. And it highlights the very real darker side of these readily accessible AI tools. It shows how easily they can be misused for incredibly harmful purposes like child exploitation.
And the consequence is an urgent call, quite rightly, for stricter regulation, right? Specifically targeting AI tools that can create or manipulate content like that. to try and prevent this kind of abuse.
Absolutely. It's a stark reminder that alongside all the incredible potential of AI, there's an immediate, urgent need for safeguards and accountability.
Okay, so moving from that ethical battleground, let's look at the AI industry itself. This stack of sources really shows the tectonic plates are shifting, doesn't it?
They really are. There's just intense competition and strategic realignments happening constantly behind the scenes.
Like that news about Google reportedly cutting ties with Scale AI.
Right. And that happened right after Meta took a significant investment stake in Scale AI. Google cited data security and competitive concerns. And Scale AI, well, they're a major player in the data labeling space, essentially preparing the data that AI models are trained on. It's crucial work.
So, okay, if you're Google and one of your major competitors, Meta, suddenly has a stake in the company you rely on for that critical training data, you'd get nervous.
Exactly. It just shows how sensitive and strategic the data supply chain is becoming in this whole AI race. And this move isn't just about Google and Scale. It's reportedly making other big players like Microsoft and OpenAI reassess their own data partnerships too. It's a clear signal of intense rivalry driving these pretty significant business decisions.
And speaking of big players, the sources also highlight how AI is moving beyond just, consumer apps and enterprise software. It's now becoming part of national strategy, it seems.
That was a striking detail, wasn't it? Seeing executives from tech giants like Meta, Palantir, OpenAI joining the U.S. Army's new innovation corps.
What's the goal there? Is it just to infuse military modernization with, like, Silicon Valley speed and expertise?
That seems to be the core idea. The aim is to rapidly integrate AI into defense operations, maybe bypassing some of the slower traditional procurement processes. It really reveals how AI is viewed now not just as a commercial technology, but as a critical component of national security and defense capabilities.
Wow. But none of this happens without the foundational infrastructure, right? The hardware.
And the numbers from Broadcom tell that story perfectly. They're soaring AI chip sales, making up a massive 52% of their business now. That's a clear indicator of the booming underlying hardware demand.
That kind of growth, it has to be driven by the need to build and run all those incredibly powerful AI models, right? Fueled by huge investments from companies like OpenAI and SoftBank, who just need that processing power. It really shows you who the key players are in sort of enabling this whole AI boom.
Definitely. And this need for foundational tech, it extends to how we connect too. European researchers are partnering with NVIDIA to work on AI-native 6G networks.
Over 200 organizations across Europe involved in that project, I read.
Yes, leveraging NVIDIA's technology. The idea is to position Europe as a potential leader in the next generation of wireless connectivity. It demonstrates how AI isn't just something that runs on networks anymore. It's becoming fundamental to how the future networks themselves will be designed and operated. It's deep integration.
Okay, so we've got legal fights, industry shakeups, military integration, the hardware powering it all. Now let's look at what you might actually see and use the new AI features and capabilities hitting the market.
Sure. OpenAI's ChatGPT, for instance, continues to evolve pretty rapidly. The sources mention upgrades making search within the tool smarter, more context-aware.
And they've added an image upload feature, which seems like a pretty big step.
It is. It signals a significant move towards multimodal AI assistance. These aren't just text chatbots anymore. They can understand and interact with both text and images now.
How might that change things for, someone using it day to day? It could fundamentally alter how you search for, process information, maybe impacting traditional web search, and even how content is published and discovered online.
Could be. And Google, not surprisingly, is also pushing hard on new features. They're upgrading Gemini 2.5 Code Assist. That's their AI tool for developers.
What kind of upgrades are we talking about?
Smarter coding suggestions, the ability to create custom commands, multi-session support, basically making the AI a more powerful and integrated partner for software development. And the sources know it's even available for free to individuals and businesses, which is pretty significant for adoption.
Yeah, that seems like a major step in AI-powered software creation, aimed squarely at people who actually build things. Another interesting search innovation from Google mentioned in the sources is audio overviews.
Yeah, this is taking search results and turning them into AI-generated audio summaries. The benefit seems obvious. Hands-free access to information, potentially for billions of users worldwide.
It feels like Google is clearly experimenting, trying new ways to deliver information, maybe pushing back against the idea that future search will only happen inside a chatbot interface.
Seems likely. And Microsoft is integrating AI even deeper, right into the operating system itself. They've added an AI troubleshooter in Windows 11 settings.
Okay, so instead of clicking through endless menus or searching help forums, you could just describe a problem you're having with Windows, and the AI tries to give you a solution or maybe even automate a fix.
That's the promise, yeah. It's a significant move towards making operating systems smarter and hopefully more user-friendly, with AI acting as this kind of invisible helper in your core software.
Even app platforms are changing. Apple is apparently rolling out AI-enhanced App Store tagging.
Right, they're using AI to automatically generate metadata and tags for apps based on things like descriptions, keywords, even screenshots, apparently.
And the goal there, is this about improving discovery for users?
Precisely. The aim is to potentially revolutionize how apps are ranked and discovered, maybe even leveling the playing field slightly for developers whose App Store optimization wasn't, perfect. But for developers, it also means needing new strategies to make sure their apps are visible as this new system rolls out globally.
Right.
It impacts anyone who builds or uses apps on their phone, really.
Okay, so finally, let's maybe shift gears and look at the bigger picture, the future. The future of work, of play, and maybe even the nature of intelligence itself.
Yeah, this is where some of the most widely discussed and definitely debated implications of AI come into play. We saw AI leaders like NVIDIA's Jensen Huang and OpenAI's Sam Altman weighing in on automation's impact on the workforce.
Their outlooks aren't exactly identical, are they?
No, not quite. Huang tends to emphasize transformation jobs changing, new roles emerging, maybe overall economic growth driven by AI-powered productivity. Altman is perhaps a bit more blunt, speaking about the potential for entire job categories to, well, become obsolete.
So different views on the scale of disruption, perhaps. What do they agree on? Is there common ground?
Well, they both stress the absolutely critical need for adaptation and innovation, for individuals to acquire new skills, and for society as a whole to figure out how to navigate these potentially massive changes. It directly addresses that key anxiety so many people have about where AI is taking the job market.
Yeah, that's definitely a big one. On a more tangible note about the future, there's news about Hugging Face making open-source humanoid robots more accessible.
Yes, with projects like Hope Jr. and Reachy Mini aiming for price points starting under, what was it, $3,000. This seems like a deliberate effort to democratize robotics innovation, moving away from models dominated by just a few large companies.
And this effort is supported by their acquisition of Pollen Robotics, right? Promoting accessibility and diversity in who can actually experiment with physical robots powered by AI.
Exactly. It shows AI moving into the physical world in a way that could soon be within reach for researchers, small businesses, maybe even hobbyists, not just the big labs.
And speaking of pushing the boundaries of AI itself, Meta is launching a superintelligence lab.
That's right. Their explicit focus is on developing AI systems with human-level capabilities, what some people call artificial general intelligence, or AGI, or maybe even beyond. The sources mention a crucial point, though. They are prioritizing safety and ethical standards alongside this development. That's key.
That's certainly a big ambition. It signals Meta's intent to be right at the forefront of the next wave of potentially transformative AI technologies, really looking at the long-term future of what AI can become.
And then in a completely different domain, we see AI entering markets you might not have expected just a few years ago. Children's entertainment.
Right. Mattel partnering with OpenAI to reinvent toys with AI. That sounds, well, interesting is one word for it.
Yeah. The goal seems to be integrating advanced AI into toys to create more interactive, maybe more intelligent playtime experiences. Think toys that can have more dynamic conversations or adapt based on how a child interacts with them.
And similar to Meta's lab, the sources emphasize that ensuring child safety is an absolutely essential consideration as they explore integrating AI into products for children.
Yeah.
That's got to be paramount.
Absolutely critical. So looking back at this whole collection of headlines, from the legal battles and the corporate chess moves to new user features and AI showing up in everything from military strategy to kids' toys, it really just drives home the sheer speed and the multifaceted nature of AI development right now.
It really does. And the tensions we discussed seem pretty clear, don't they? That incredible push for innovation constantly bumping up against the need for ethics and safety. Intense competition, often existing right alongside surprising collaborations, and the rapid technical progress forcing these immediate questions about societal impact.
Yeah. And as you reflect on all this, maybe consider which of these developments feels most significant, or perhaps even surprising to you personally. Does the debate over copyright hit home if you're a creative? Does the workforce discussion feel most urgent? Or are you thinking differently about the AI features just showing up in the software and devices you use every day?
And maybe here's the provocative thought to leave you with, kind of pulling it all together. AI is simultaneously being deployed in creative arts, corporate strategy, military applications, fundamental user interfaces, and even children's toys. What does this tell us about how deeply and quickly it's integrating into, well, every aspect of life? And perhaps more interestingly, what unexpected connections or even consequences might arise between these seemingly separate developments in the near future? Something to think about.